Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I just have two riffs in the background while I talk. I figured I had two riffs today. Now is like the best time for me to talk about why I think these riffs could be better, kind of changes I think would be awesome to have in the game. But before I do any of that, I want to give credit where credit is due, because I want to commend Kabam for the changes we've had in this month's riffs as opposed to previous riffs. Now in the past, we couldn't really guarantee a reward, so it was completely luck based and completely lottery, and that didn't feel great. So I think the Chronometer was an absolutely amazing addition to the game. Overall, it makes the raw RNG of this event feel not as bad because you get a guaranteed value. I think that giving it so people can get an awakening gem feels amazing, and it's not essentially useless if you don't want an awakening gem because you can still pick up a 5-star crystal or a 5-star featured, and that just feels great. Or you could just completely bypass that and just try your luck, and you've got a 70% chance or so to get better rewards if you're not just someone who's super unlucky like yours truly, getting those SIG gems here on the video. But for a lot of people, your average player, going for extra riffs is going to be good for them, and I think that's really, really nice. Additionally, I really like the use of 2-stars in this event. I think using 2-stars is really, really cool. Getting them in the daily objectives makes having 2-stars really fun and exciting. You get to use champions maybe you wouldn't normally use, rank up champions in a very accessible way, and overall, it's just nice. I really would like to see more of this in the future. I love the concept of having lower star champions in the events, like the monthly events, and I hope that's something that Kabam does a lot more of in the future. I think that's a really, really good way for Kabam to give value to those lower star rating champions without implementing it into the story quest, right? Maybe even one day in the future we'll see full uncollected and epic difficulty events where you can only use 4-stars. They lock out the 5-stars entirely and then they tone down the difficulty of the event to accommodate, and that would be really, really cool, kind of accentuating the value of 4-stars. That said, there is a long list of things I would like to see Kabam change. So while we're on the topic, I want to talk about 2-stars in general. I think this was a ball drop. I think that Kabam totally could have made these 1-stars. We could have been using 1-stars to collect our intel in order to open these rifts, and then that would have solved the variant 4 problem that so many people have, where they can't really explore variant 1 because they don't have the right roster of champions, because right now it's Hulk. You can use Vision, but it's essentially Hulk in order to do an exploration of variant 4, and we were told we were going to get 1-stars, and now this is the first event where we've had essentially limited lower star champions available to us, and 1-stars aren't even in the crystal, and that was just a huge ball drop. I don't know if it was intentional. Maybe Kabam has something rolling out in the coming months. To me, it just complete miss. I think that it was so big of an opportunity to do the exact same thing but with 1-stars, and that would have been such an amazing hype. There would have been so much value in that, and it was a miss. It is what it is, but I would like to see next time they do a 2-star event that they make it 1-stars, or at least put 1-stars in the crystal. It doesn't need to be only 1-stars, but 20% chance to get a 1-star. Open up that accessibility to someone. I think that would be good. Overall, next I want to talk about is the energy consumption. Now I know there are some complaints about the cost of energy for rifts overall, but just kind of remind people that we have an extra week in this month, which means there's an extra week's worth of natural energy. So when you think about it from that perspective, the number of rifts in the monthly event and the side 2-star stuff, the energy consumption is actually really reasonable. I'm on track to do most of the monthly event for just a handful of energy refills just because I've been stacking my rifts. Which brings me to my second point about energy consumption, is that I think that the total energy consumption is fine, just the way Kabam is drawing it out of us is not okay. What I would like to see instead is have the 2-star event be 4 energy per tile. That way people can run that daily and then save up their rifts and then run all their rifts at once. This way, yes, the energy is still there, but now you can, save the harder quest for when maybe you're boosting, if you're a progressing player who needs to boost to push through these quests or boost to save items, or you're someone like me who doesn't like to run rifts daily or essentially every 2 days because that makes it feel like a drag. It's more fun to run multiple rifts at once. you would be able to do that without having to pay energy refills as penance. So I think that would be a really good change as well. And again, it doesn't affect the total energy consumption, just kind of affects the way players can approach the content, and it feels good. Because another thing about the rifts right now is like at 4 energy a tile, it feels so bad to get 100 6-star shards. You're like, damn, that was like 30 units for 100 6-star shards, which essentially means like 3,000 units for a 6-star, and like, it just doesn't feel worth it, man. It just sucks so bad. On the note of like feel bad rewards, because let me tell you, I'm the king of feel bad rewards. If you get anything from these 2 rifts, is just add like gold, energy refills, loyalty, or something to make like the lower rewards feel less crappy, because like right now it sucks. I have yet to pull, I think 2,000 5-star shards is legitimately the best thing I've pulled, and it just sucks. Like I've gotten 6-star stones 5 times, 6-star shards, like 100 6-star shards twice, and like 1,000 5-star shards twice, I think, as well. Like, it's just been a rough month for me. RNG doesn't really like me. I understand that, you know, it's hit or miss. Of course, everybody spreads out and the average and the medians, blah, blah, blah. But just make these lesser rewards suck less, because it sucks so bad. And I'm not the only one out there. There's going to be other people out there who feel the same, and it would be nice to get at least a consolation. On the same note, I think averaging out the paths would make it feel a lot better and inflate the value of the featured crystal. So what I mean by average out the paths is I personally don't see a reason to have 2,000 5-star shards and 10,000 5-star shards. Like, on paper it sounds really nice. Oh, 10,000 5-star shards, that's a full crystal. But like, people are already playing this on the law of averages anyways. If you average it out 4 and 8 instead, now it doesn't feel as bad when you pull 4,000 5-star shards instead of 2,000, right? But the 8,000 still feels great because you know you got the maximum number of shards. Additionally, now the chronometer feels way better because, you know, if you're not getting an awakening gem, that featured crystal really, really stands out instead. But again, the overall average of 5-star shards players are collecting is still stays relatively the same, and I think that would be really, really great. And again, it kind of like reduces the lows but keep the highs at still relative highs. It's all about making the players feel good when you want them to feel good, but not making them feel absolutely miserable when they hit bad RNG, but also making it feel, you know, not as good as good RNG. Next up, I think that given the gems are class specific, I think the quantity of rifts to run is actually pro player. I understand that 18 is a lot, it feels kind of grindy, but the more RNG chance you have when you run multiple rifts gives you a higher chance to get the class specific rift you're looking for. Like, to get 13 rifts and not see the gem class that you're looking for, you'd have to be fairly unlucky, and that's actually, you know, good for you as a player. Honestly, even more rifts would be even better when you're fishing with the chronometer, and like, I think that's a good thing. But on the same point, I think we're at the point, like, kabam, you're giving us a chronometer, you're letting us select the class. At this point, just make it a generic. Like, there's no reason not to just have a generic gem in there. And I understand, like, you say, oh, okay, well, from a developer perspective and balancing, like, because you have to juggle the people who just naturally draw the gem, right? You got to think about luck, of course. It's better for the developer if it's class specific. That way they're not getting a generic and having access to a broader resource of utilities. Drop the drop rate. Make the drop rate 2.5 instead of 5%. And then make it, you know, so people feel like they need to use the chronometer in order to get that gem. Overall, less people will get gems, and that's bad from an RNG perspective, but it's great because honestly, people who need a gem right now are buying a chronometer for the guarantee, so they're already getting it. So you don't really have a ton of people who are RNG luck sacking gems without having a general use for it. Like, yes, they exist, but you can tighten up the statistics based on drop percentages, make it generic, and average it out that way, and that allows you to change the number of rifts and have it and double the rewards across the board. Again, just emphasizing my point of making it so the highs feel great and the lows don't feel as bad, because if you're running half the number of rifts, the rewards are doubled. You know, 4,000 5-star shards, I say again, feels a lot better than 2,000. You know, 2,000 6-star shards feels a lot better than 1,000. So it's all about averaging it out and feeling better. And again, it would make it significantly less grindy if we were running 9 rifts instead of 18. Just my perspective on that. And then On the objectives, I think that the daily objectives was a really, really nice touch. I think these are really clever. I love the character descriptions and stuff and learning who the champion's going to be. I think that's all really neat. But I think that instead of doing daily objectives, weekly objectives would be much more beneficial to the player base. It would feel less tedious. Right now, the daily objective is super easy to do, and even a weekly objective would be super easy to do. What makes it tedious is the daily aspect. And you can say yes, you can save it. You know, people like me have reached the point where I just get in an arena and I just like let them stack up, no big deal. But a lot of people feel like they need to do it every day, and that makes it feel tedious, and that takes away from the game from a really cool aspect where if Kabam, if you had just given it to us on a weekly basis, you give us 3, or maybe you give us 3 every 3 days. You see what I'm saying? My point is stack them up so that we have a longer period of time to do it without feeling pressured, because inevitably players are going to want to complete the content as fast as possible, and just kind of curtailing the content and curbing it towards those players will make the game feel better overall. Finally, my very last change is lock 2 stars from rifts. Don't let people bring 2 stars into an epic rift. I know there are people who be like, oh, I want to meme it. Okay, well maybe make it so like if you have a 2 star on your roster, you have to like click an extra yes. And I know it's like, oh, well, that's the player's fault. You know, you were using 2 stars in the 2 star event because you had to, and you brought them into the rift. That's your fault for being careless. And I understand that. But just having that potential for an accident, even if it's completely the player's fault, having that potential for an accident is just such a feels bad. Like, I don't know anyone who, like, would honestly hear, oh, you had to quit out of a rift, you automatically lost your ticket that you consumed because of some bad luck. Like, not some bad luck, but carelessness, or you were tired, or you were excited about rifts and you clicked too fast. Just take it out of the equation. Just make it not an option. It's a small quality of life change, and that might be asking for too much on a coding perspective, but it is something I'd like to see, and I feel like needs to be mentioned. That said, if there's something I've said maybe you disagree with, something maybe you feel I have left out, like an extra and awesome change to rifts you feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear about it. As always, it's been fun, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.